Hi everyone, this is Fernando from AbyssalBrews walking you through the illustration process for Billy the Club. I started by drawing just a regular boring mace, since that's a core part of the concept. When Billy is not in biting mode, he just looks and acts like a regular weapon. This first sketch made him look really silly, which was my original vision, and yes, I attempted to get away with drawing a butt for the pommel, but immediately gave up on that idea. The next one looks a bit like a chain chomp from Super Mario Bros. And that's all there is to say about that. Let's move on. Here you can briefly see what ended up being the final concept, but I kept exploring other approaches. I was happy with the mouth, teeth and tongue at this point, but I wasn't feeling the eyes and nose. In some of these, the noses made him look too much like a clown, which, screw that. I also tried giving him spider eyes, and he looked too much like a Monsters Incorporated character. I tried separating the eyes far apart and he looked like the Simpsons mutant fish a bit. It just wasn't clicking. And the last one looks a lot like Jack Frost. None of this was intentional. At this point, I'm throwing everything on the wall and seeing what sticks. Finally, we settled on the design with no discernible eyes. I mean, the metal bumps on the head basically function as sort of eyes, but I felt giving him irises gave him too much personality and agency. It just didn't feel right. This final design also makes him look creepier and alien without being off-putting. I experimented a bit with the tongue too. The teeth and tongue ended up looking a bit like Venom, which was not part of the original inspiration, even though I definitely see how they share some similarities conceptually. I also always like doing little curls at the end of creature smiles, tongues, smoke trails, and everything else I can get away with. Tim Burton, of course, is the master of this. It makes otherwise uninteresting tips look much more fun and is very creepy and unnatural when used on smiles. I thought about wrapping the tongue around the handle to double as the grip for the mace, but it didn't make sense and it distracted away from the whole image. The idea for Billy came about when Matt and I were talking about needing to take a little break from working on Campfire. We didn't want to leave our audience without any content for a prolonged period of time, so we decided to work on an unplanned magic item. We bounced a couple of concepts back and forth, and out of nowhere I had the idea for a weapon mimic, but not just an enemy, rather a creature that befriended its wielder as long as he was kept fed and happy. Kind of like a remora, but more psychotic and dangerous. A mace seemed like the obvious choice since it has a round business end which can easily double as a head. I immediately had an image of the old 90s toy Mad Balls, which were basically different types of balls with gross monster faces. I told Matt that basically what I was seeking with this item was funny moments in combat where an NPC has a hilarious look of confusion when an ordinary looking mace starts biting them out of nowhere. Imagine you're a guard. You put up your shield and brace yourself for a mace hit, and the next thing you know, the mace bites the edge of your shield and is trying to tug it away from you. Matt took the idea and ran with it. As he often does, he came up with the perfect mechanics for this item, including the grappler trait. He also added the acid bite part as well as the multiple languages. Some of the other ideas he came up with for Billy were really amazing, but he wisely cut them because they were either overpowered or would overcomplicate things during encounters. At the end of the day, our aim is to provide more moments of simple fun for you, your friends, and your games. This was such a fun item to work on. I loved the final look, but it also felt great to be more involved in the concept part. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe if you haven't done so already, and more importantly, give us a follow on Twitter. Matt is very active on there, and he's always posting generally fun and thought-provoking threads. We also post previews for the content we're working on, as well as polls and lots of other fun stuff. Until next time, stay safe, stay fun, and stay happy.